So today we are finishing up solving rational equations. Sometimes we need to figure out our least common denominator in order to cancel out all of the fractions. So on this one, I have some terms that aren't factored. What I want to do is I want to factor my denominators if I can. So my first denominator, I can't factor that anymore, so that's going to stay the same. Then the second one, can I factor x squared minus 9? What does it factor to? What? Just 3? Yep. So when I have two terms, it gives me one positive, one negative. And then I still had my last term, which doesn't factor anymore. Okay, so I want to look for what I have on my bottoms of the fractions. So what factors do I have that I should multiply this whole thing by? So x plus 3. Anything else that I have on the bottom of the fractions? X minus 3. So just like yesterday at the end of the notes when we were multiplying each term by the factors, that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to have x plus 3 times x minus 3.
The time bell has rung, you should be in your first hour class. If the bell has rung, you should be in your first hour class.
Okay. Okay, so what can I cancel out of my first term? X minus 3. So then these leave me with 6 and x plus 3. So I want to distribute. 6 times x, it gives me 6x. 6 times 3 gets me 18. Then if I take a look at the middle term, what can I cancel out here? Both of these will cancel out. So then I'm just left with the 8x squared. Over here at the end one, what can I cancel out? X plus 3. Oops, that was the minus I crossed out. I'll just change them. Okay. So then I want to distribute. I have a negative and a 4x. So that's going to make it negative 4x if I go ahead and change my signs. Negative 4x times x gets me negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times negative 3 gets me positive 12x. Okay, so then I want to go ahead and combine like terms. There's nothing to combine on my left side. On my right side, 8x squared minus 4x squared gets me... Then I want to get all of my terms over to the same side. So I'm going to start off by subtracting 6x on both sides. That gets me 18 equals 4x squared plus 6x. Then I want to go ahead and subtract 18 on both sides. So notice everything is even. I can divide it all by 2 to make it smaller numbers to work with. It's going to get me 0 equals 2x squared, plus 3x minus 9. So this one, since I have a number in front of my a value, I want to use the AC method. A is 2, B is 3, C is negative 9. So then I'm going to have A times C, which will be 2 times negative 9. Which gets me negative 18. So I want to look for numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add up to positive 3. So this would be 6 and negative 3. So I want to split up my middle term. Then I'm going to break this up into 2 groups. can take out 2x from the first one. And then what am I left over with? X plus 3, because I divided out an x. On the second side, I can take out a negative 3. Then I want to go ahead and combine them. So I'm going to have 2x minus 3 and then x plus 3. Then I'm going to take each of my factors and set them equal to 0. So on this first one, I want to add 3 to both sides. So I get 2x equals 3. Then I can divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 3 halves. This adds up. We're going to skip number 2. On the second one, I want to subtract 3 on both sides. Gets me x minus 3. Okay, now that I have my numbers, I just need to check to make sure that they work. So yesterday we said I could plug into the denominator just to see if it gives me 0. If it gives me 0, the answer does not work. Okay. So the first number I'm going to check is that 3 halves. So if I do 3 halves minus 3, this is plugging into that first denominator up there. This gets me negative 3 halves. Is that 0? No. So I can keep going. I have 3 halves squared minus 9. Which gets me negative 6.75. Is that 0? No. And then my last fraction I need to plug in here is plus 3. So 3 halves plus 3 gets me 4.5. Is that 0? No. So this answer works. Then I want to do the same thing for negative 3. So I'm going to plug into the same denominator. So I'm going to have the x minus 3. So negative 3 minus 3 gets me negative 6. Is that 0? Okay. Then I'm going to plug into the second one. I have negative 3 squared minus 9, which is 9 minus 9. Gives me 0. So does this one work? No. Questions on number 1? Like that? Was it when I factored? Okay, so did you understand how I got to the part in blue, the 0 equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 9? Yeah, so I divided by 2s just to make them smaller numbers easier to work with. So then I got this part in blue. And then I did the AC method, so I found my A value was 2, my B was 3, and my C was negative 9. I multiplied A and C together to get 2 times negative 9 equals negative 18. So I'm looking for the numbers that multiplied to negative 18 and added to my middle number here, which was 3. So that gave me 6 and negative 3. So, it's like, you know when you don't have a number out front, I look for what multiplies to the end number and adds to the middle? It's kind of the same thing with the AC method. I look for what multiplies to A and C and then adds to the middle. And that's how I was able to split up the middle. You're welcome. Okay, any other questions here on number 1? Okay, so I'm going to do number 2 and then I'll have you guys work on number 3 on your own. No, I'm going to work on number 3 and then I'm going to have you work on number 4. I forgot to cross off 2. So, number 3, same idea. I want to factor my fractions. What multiplies to 10 and adds to negative 7? Negative 5 and negative 2. So then what do I want to multiply these by? Okay. So then I am going to rewrite this out. Wait. That wasn't really supposed to go there. Okay, so what can I cancel out of my first one? R minus 2. Then I have 1 times R. What is 1 times R? R. 1 times negative 5. On my middle term, what can I cancel out? Yep. I can cancel out everything. So this gives me just 1. On the last one, what can I cancel out? R minus 2. So then I have 6 times R, which gets me 6R. 6 times negative 5, negative 30. Then I want to combine like terms on my left side. So what's negative 5 plus 1? Okay. Then I want to subtract R on both sides. So this is going to get me negative 4 equals 5R minus 30. Then I want to add 30 to both sides. What is negative 4 plus 30? $26. Then I can divide both sides by 5. Gets me R equals, does 5 divide 26 nicely? No. So 26 fifths. Questions on number 3? Okay, so let's move on to the back. What does this factor to? The second fraction. And minus 6 and plus 1. So what do I need to multiply this whole thing by? It shouldn't be. N minus 6 and then n plus 1. Okay, so what can I cancel out with my first one? N plus 1. So then I have 4 times n, which gets me 4n. 4 times negative 6, negative 24. On my middle one, what can I cancel out? All of it. So I'm just left with the number 1 on top. On the last one, what can I cancel out? N minus 6, so I have 1 times n, which is n. 1 times 1, which is 1. Then I want to go ahead and combine my terms on the left side. What's negative 24 plus 1? Negative 23. Then I have n plus 1 on the right. Then I want to subtract my n over. 4n minus n gets me 3n. Then I want to go ahead and add 23 to both sides. I have 3n equals 24. Divide both sides by 3. I get n equals, does 3 divide 24 nicely? You sure? It does. It's 8. questions here?